Welcome to Jazz Time. Jazz Time is an online store that buys, sells, and trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. If you like this watch, click the link in the description below to buy it at the lowest price anywhere online. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the Rolex Day-Date 40 White Gold, reference 228239, with a black index dial. I'm going to talk to you about the bezel, dial, case, bracelet movement, try it on, and give you my thoughts. This watch is the Day-Date 40. Now, Rolex makes this also in a size 36, and the Day-Date is arguably Rolex's most prestigious line. In fact, it is so prestigious that it's nicknamed the President. And that nickname has caught on such that Rolex has renamed their bracelet the President Bracelet. Not the manager, not the worker, not the CEO, the President. It's arguably the most recognizable, iconic watch that Rolex makes. In fact, presidents themselves, such as Eisenhower, JFK, Jimmy Carter, etc., have been photographed wearing the Rolex Day-Date. Pretty neat fact, actually. It's been around for more than 50 years, and now what makes it so special? Well, Rolex, of course! It's probably the number one... No, not probably. It is the number one selling watch in the world, commanding almost 50% of the market share. This is a simple fact. Then, of the Rolex line, Rolex's most iconic watch is the Datejust, but that's just because of the price. The Day-Date is the bigger brother of the Datejust. It has more complications, it's made of precious metals, and it's more famous in that sense. Or at least it's more desirable. It doesn't mean there's more of them because of the price point, but it is a more desirable model because it is the top of its line. There is nothing Rolex makes past the Day-Date. Now, of course, they do make different variations of the Day-Date in different metals and diamonds and whatever else, but this is still a Day-Date. There's no Day-Date, Day-Date month, Day-Date plus, something like that. No, this is the final step in Rolex's Oyster line. Okay, and you're looking at it. Now, your choice here is just to decide whether if you like size 36 or size 40. 36 should be for a woman who likes to wear a larger watch or who simply has a larger wrist, or a man who has a bit of a smaller to medium-sized wrist, and of course, the watch actually fits them. The Day-Date 40 are for those who have a bit of a larger wrist or like to wear larger watches. If I had to recommend it to you, I would probably tell you if you're at least a man of 150 pounds or much more, you could easily wear the Day-Date 40. If you're around there or smaller, you should probably go for the 36mm. Now, as I mentioned, this watch in my hands is the 40mm, as I've alluded to. The older version is a Day-Date 41, and that watch is discontinued. To be honest, you might think, well, I want the bigger watch, that looks better. Well, no, not really, because the older 41 looked very clunky, and it did not look as nearly streamlined as this Day-Date 40 does. Now, it has an Oyster case, and as I told you, from the 4 o'clock to the 2 o'clock, from my thumb to index finger, the longest distance across the bezel is 40mm. It has a monoblock middle case with a screw-down caseback and a winding crown. And then the entire case is made out of white gold. So it's gold with some added parts to make it this white color. If you turn it on its side, you can see the side profile. Now, Rolex doesn't really make watches that are difficult to wear, and this is no exception. If you look at it on its side, it's approximately 12mm in height, which is a very average size. And in fact, interestingly, this watch has more complications than the Datejust, but it's the same exact thickness. So they had to include more technology in order to keep this watch as thin as it is. Moving on, let's talk about the bezel here. The bezel is a fluted bezel. This is the most iconic bezel that Rolex makes. And if you don't know, well, you should. And if you don't know, now you do. This bezel is made of white gold. It's a mark of distinction. Originally, the fluted bezel had a functional purpose, and it was to screw the bezel onto the case to help ensure its waterproofness of the watch. But after some time, they figured out how to do without it, and it just became an aesthetic element. It shows that this is a genuine Rolex with this beautiful fluted Rolex signature and it's a mark of distinction. Okay, now let's move on to the dial here. Now, the dial on this watch, they call it a black dial. Now, it has your typical sunray finish, which, if you don't know, it's a finish that creates a delicate light reflection on the dial, such that when you move it in different directions, the grooves create an outward appearance that the watch is changing colors, which obviously it's not. But it appears that way because of the way that they have done it. The sunray finish is applied by using a physical vapor deposition or electroplating, and it's a light coat of varnish that gives the dial the final look. It's an absolutely beautiful dial. What else I can point out to you about this is that it has an index dial. Now, what is an index? That means the hour markers have these little sticks, batons, or indexes that there's luminescence at the end of it. Now, when I shine this light, you'll see that it lights up very, very well. It lights up so you can actually see it at night. Now, that's a practical consideration that many people simply overlook. They might think, well, the Roman numerals look nicer. I want to have the Roman numeral, for example, on the Roman green dial. It's a very beautiful dial, yes, but you know what the problem is on that? You can't see it at night. You literally cannot see it. So you're wearing this hunk of gold on your wrist, and you try to tell the time, and you have to take out your phone, and you kind of look ridiculous, actually. So they need to figure out how to put that index dial or that luminescence on the end of the watch, because the whole purpose of wearing the watch, aside from flexing, which, let's be honest, is probably the number one reason, the number two reason is to actually tell the time. Sometimes you're at a nice dinner or event or whatever, it's kind of rude to stare at your phone. It's also a little rude to look at your watch, but it's much less noticeable. So anyways, having an index dial really solves that problem, because at least you can see the darn thing at night. Makes sense? And you know what else makes sense? It also makes the watch look much cleaner. It doesn't have so much stuff on it. It just looks very streamlined. Sometimes you don't want your t-shirt to have all these pockets and rips and different colors and all this stuff. You just don't want all that. You just want a simple white t-shirt or simple white blue shirt, one pocket, and that's it. Maybe a 2 buttons on top. You don't need all the extra stuff. That's what the Roman style is. It's very cluttered. Sometimes that is very good. Sometimes that's even desirable. But sometimes it's not. In this situation, if you were to choose an index dial, it is not cluttered. It is practical. And just that sprinkle on top, it has that beautiful sunray finish. Okay, now they make that sunray finish. They make this kind of index style. They make it, at least as of 2023, the making of this video, and they make it in this black index style and slate style. I think they only made 2 index styles. Maybe they'll do more in the future. Who knows? Anyways, that is the dial. Now let's move on to the bracelet. As I told you in the beginning, this is the President bracelet. The bracelet is 3-piece links across, it's semicircular, and it's also made of white gold. The entire watch is made of white gold. The clasp is a concealed folding crown clasp. You open it, it closes like this, and you can't see it once you close it. You can't see the buckle anymore. Hence the name concealed as opposed to unconcealed, right? So the older style had a buckle on the end of it, which, to be honest, was quite unsightly, and it didn't look like it flowed. It was not streamlined. And Rolex tries to do a good job at making their watches flow. And the bracelet is actually part of the watch, and it's unmistakably Rolex. Now, for example, if you look at a Patek Philippe, they always concentrate on the head of their watch. They pay very little regard to the bracelet. Now, the bracelet, of course, is part of the watch. It's not an important part of the watch, but it's certainly still part of the watch. You need something to strap it onto your wrist, and it would be kind of ridiculous to think that the strap doesn't matter. Of course it matters. If it didn't matter, then why don't we just use plastic? But it does matter. So using a bracelet that is also recognizable, also iconic, and also beautiful and practical is important. And even major brands such as Patek really don't pay attention to it. Now, actually, though, I should say within the last few years, they are starting to integrate the bracelet, or the strap at the very least, into the watch by adjusting the colors and making them somewhat match, which is a very smart idea. They probably got the hint, or maybe they watched this YouTube video, who knows. But at any rate, making the bracelet and the head of the watch match, which Rolex is very good at, creates this beautiful iconic watch, which is what you see here. Here is the result. Now that is the bracelet. Let's move on and talk about the movement. The movement is an upgraded movement from what it used to be. It's now a 3255 manufactured Rolex. It's precise to plus or minus 2 seconds a day with a power reserve of 70 hours. Now I can say finally Rolex is having a power reserve of 70 hours and other brands need to catch up. AP is doing all of their movements around 70 hours. That is the standard. I have to say that Patek Philippe, for example, most of their watches are 35 to 40, which is actually, to be quite honest, kind of pathetic. I hope they'll watch this video because they need to up their game. If they're trying to sell a $50,000 watch and they're only having a power reserve of up to 50 hours, you know what that means? It's not so much, oh, well, what's the big difference between 50 and 70? Well, first, that's a lot, 50%. Second of all, if you have a watch that has a longer power reserve, what does that mean? It actually means that the watch is more efficient. It's using new technology, ceramic bearings, etc. If it doesn't have a long power reserve, that means it's inefficient. You're paying that kind of money for the watch to be efficient. Now, if you take a look at Audemars Piguet, all of their new movements have 70-hour power reserves, which has met the criteria for a modern watch. Rolex is doing the same with their new watches, and this is no exception. So the other brands, such as Patek Philippe, need to up their game. I bet you're going to start seeing more 70-hour power reserve watches from Patek, which you heard right here. Who knows, maybe they actually watched this and that's how they figured it out. But at any rate, for this watch, that's the movement. Now let me try it on. I am 200 pounds, 6 feet tall, and you can see that this watch looks fantastic on my wrist. What are my thoughts? My thoughts are, well, I kind of gave it to you throughout this video. This is the Day-Date President. It is the most iconic watch that Rolex makes. It's a watch that is the tippity top of the line. There's nothing better than it for Rolex, of course. Like I said, they make different variations. Now, let's talk about this variation itself, white gold. Now, why would you not want to wear white gold? I want to wear yellow. I want everyone to look at my watch. I want everyone to think I am so cool. Okay, you know what? So then you can choose the yellow gold or the rose gold. Now, why would you choose the white gold? Well, not everybody wants to walk around with their watch blinging in yellow gold. Be honest, I don't want to do that. I don't really want to wear yellow gold because it attracts too much attention and not always the right attention. I don't always want people to know what kind of watch I have on. A lot of people won't look at a watch in white color because it just looks like stainless steel. At the end of the day, I think that the watch is for the person wearing it, not for those around you, because you're the one who's going to be staring at it most of the time. Most people don't even care what kind of watch you have. They might look at it for only a few seconds, whereas you are probably going to be wearing it and looking at it for years. So it matters what you think. And for me, I kind of prefer a watch that is a little bit more subtle. I don't have to wear a yellow gold watch or rose gold watch that's going to be blinging out with diamonds everywhere. But that is just me. And you know what? I don't know. But if you do want to buy this watch, click the link in the description below and buy it at jazztime.com.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to Model as seen in video, click on it and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in Jazz Time, plus the brand, model and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.